And a very good afternoon to everyone joining me on this Newsline Facebook Live. Today is a very significant day in the India-China standoff because Prime Minister Modi is in Ladakh, where he is interacting with the army personnel, and this comes just days after the violent clashes that took place in the Galwan Valley. Now, today's visit of the Prime Minister is extremely significant because it gives out a very strong message to not just China but to the international community as well. It was earlier today, it was a surprise visit of the Prime Minister at about 9:30 a.m. He reached Ladakh. He's accompanied by the Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat, as well as the Army Chief Naravne. And he also held discussions with the army personnel who are deployed at the border, as well as he is also meeting the soldiers who were injured in the clashes. Now, this is a very significant visit because this comes as a huge boost to the morale of the armed forces after the incident that took place. And this also comes amid the strong anti-China sentiments across the country. So this is a message going out not just to the international community, to China, but also to our own countrymen that things are under control, that the situation is under control, and India is ready to take any strong action against China. Now, this is something that Prime Minister Modi has also reiterated time and again. First, that the sacrifices of our Jawans, of our soldiers, will not go in vain, and India will give a befitting response. It doesn't matter which the country is, because there was a lot of criticism coming in as well that it's easier to take on Pakistan than it is to take on China. But Prime Minister Modi has reiterated that India is ready to give a befitting response. There are a few key takeaways from this meeting and the visit of Prime Minister Modi as well. The first one, of course, like I said, a very strong message that India is not going to back down. Prime Minister Modi has said that India wants peace, but if provoked, we are ready to give a befitting response to the country. So this visit of the Prime Minister is going to give out that message that India is not going to back down. China and its incursion is well known, but India is not going to give up the fight. Another one, of course, being that India is ready to take on China, even if it means, going to an extent that was unthought of until now. Several Chinese apps have already been banned by the government. That itself gives out a very strong message. But this visit of the Prime Minister also indicates that this is just the first step. We could be taking several more steps to ensure that we get our land, because this is a part of India's territory. Another one, of course, this comes at a time when India is clearly not alone. There's a lot of indication coming in from the other countries as well that we're not alone. The United States has also hinted at moving its troops because of the standoff between India and China. So in the international community as well, India is sending out quite a strong message. Apart from that, as it is, world opinion is building up against China for various reasons because of the lack of transparency as well. So world opinion is already building up against China. So this comes at a very crucial time. And of course, the most important one being, of course, the fact that this would be a message going out to the entire country and a big morale booster for our forces as well. To give us more inputs on this with his expertise, joining us live is Air Marshal B.K. Murli. Air Marshal, many thanks for joining us. What do you have to say about this visit of the Prime Minister? It comes at a very crucial juncture. The Defence Minister was to visit, but that visit was rescheduled for Prime Minister Modi to visit.
Yeah, good afternoon, Pratibha. Yes, like you said, this Prime Minister's visit comes at a very crucial juncture, and for obvious reasons, it was kept under the wraps. It was a surprise visit. Our Raksha Mantri was supposed to visit yesterday with the Chief of the Army Staff, and today Prime Minister decided to visit along with the CDS and Chief of the Army Staff. And this comes at a very crucial time. Just like you mentioned a few minutes earlier, it sends a very clear message to the Chinese side that, look, we are ready for a long haul, militarily, and if required, we will take all military actions. Yes. And then we are not going to be cowed down by your aggression. And then we are ready to safeguard the sovereignty and the integrity of the country. In fact, I think, in my opinion, the visit couldn't have come at a better time. It's an absolute clear message to the world community and to China as a whole.
Right, it couldn't have come at a better time. But also, Air Marshal, there were a few doubts that were raised as well on whether this visit of the Prime Minister, extremely crucial, it does give out a very strong message, yes. But at a crucial time like this, there are also fears that, would it help the situation because our security forces are there at a weak situation like this? The Prime Minister's visit, would it hinder any operations that are already going on?
No, Pratibha, definitely it won't. We know for a fact that the Chinese side will not stick to the agreements that they have reached in the core commander level talks that was held three times in the last about 1 month. The latest being day for yesterday. No, we want them to stick to the whatever agreements that were actually drawn up in the meeting at Chushul. Secondly, we want them to actually maintain the status quo ante as on April, and we know for a fact that the Chinese will drag their feet, and we are ready for a long haul. Now, definitely, we are not looking for a military confrontation, nor are Chinese looking for a military confrontation. But then, unfortunately, we actually share 4,000 kilometers of border from Daulat Beg Oldi right up to Tawang in Arunachal Pradesh, and nothing prevents them from opening a new front, which they've already done. In the 800-kilometer border from Daulat Beg Oldi up to the eastern Ladakh of Galwan Valley, they have opened fronts at 7 places, and the most important being the Pangong Lake, where they have put a 80 feet banner to say that this belongs to us, Indians go back. Now, we want them to stick to the agreements that they have made with us in the past, the peace and tranquility agreement, the border defense management agreement for 2003 and 2013, most importantly after their incursion in the Daulat Beg Oldi region, and the recent three meetings that took place at the level of lieutenant generals on both sides. Now, the visit to the Prime Minister basically is to get a feel of the ground situation at Eastern Ladakh. Remember, the Prime Minister has gone to a place which is 11,000 feet above the mean sea level, where the oxygen is rare and it is not very difficult to actually stay there for a long time. Despite all this, he has gone and met the corps commander of 14 Corps, the Northern Army commander, the soldiers who actually fought a valiant battle at the Galwan Valley, and also those soldiers who are just waiting to actually see the green flag so that they can go and take on the Chinese. Yes, this is a great morale booster for our soldiers who probably may be feeling a little low right now because they must have been told, no, you really cannot go and actually launch a preemptive attack. You need to wait for something to develop. And, as a country, we have been witnessing some really strange things happening in that valley where China is, they are actually refurbishing the old helipads, they are constructing new constructions, they are building bridges, they are leaving, fast motorboats in the Pangong Lake, and they are actually building tents, and they have moved 3 mountain divisions in that entire area. In the when you look at all this and in the backdrop, the Prime Minister visit is really extremely significant and couldn't have come at a better time, like I said earlier, Pratibha.
Right. So this also shows the synergy between the political establishment as well as the army, which is great at a time like this. And what China wants is for India to accept its incursions without saying a word, and that's not going to happen. So that message has been given out. But also, Air Marshal, there are some fears that, this goes beyond just a political message. We've already seen the Chinese apps being banned. The duties on the Chinese imports will also be increased. The government of India is already planning that. And now Prime Minister Modi's visit, it clearly indicates that de-escalation is something that's not happening currently at the border. Is that a sign of worry for the people of the country?
Positively not. We have been observing in the last 1 month that there has been an aggressive diplomacy from our side. In fact, we have actually taken up the matter of the Chinese aggression in Hong Kong, and particularly after they passed the national security law, recently, and we have also taken up the matter very strongly, in respect of the Chinese aggression in the South China Sea. And today, when Prime Minister was visiting Ladakh, our Foreign Secretary Shingla has met the Japanese counterpart in the Japanese embassy, and he has briefed him. And the Japanese have given a clear-cut message that the Chinese aggression and their incursion in the Galwan Valley is totally unacceptable to them. In fact, they are suffering a similar fate like us in the Sanakoku Islands in the eastern China Sea, where China has gone and aggressively called that entire island as their own. And they have, on top of that, they have done some, air and military land exercises, land, navy, marine, as well as the air exercises in the South China Sea, to the dismay of Vietnam and the Philippines. And you know what is happening in Hong Kong and Taiwan. So China has all of a sudden become very aggressive, and then India has taken up these matters at the appropriate level, even though not so vociferously. But the fact of the matter is, all these days we kept quiet. Now we have given a message, China, enough is enough. If you make a mistake, we are going to highlight it, everywhere. And the second point is, economically, we are, taken some actions which is going to hurt the Chinese economy, terribly. And I think it's a is a step in the right direction. Militarily, yes, we are definitely ready for a two-frontal attack in the northern Ladakh as well as the eastern Ladakh. And we are not going to just be cowed down by their aggression, come what may. And then even if it's a long haul, so be it. We are ready for a long haul. And we know for a fact that the entire all this drama could be carried forward towards the winter months this year. But so be it. We have given a lot of actually freedom to China to do whatever they want in the past few years. Now it's time to cut them off once and for all.
Right. That would be a strong message going out, definitely. Marshal, lastly, I want to ask you, you said that this standoff is likely to go on for a long time, and that's expected as well, going by the action of the military from the Chinese side as well as ours. But there are several reasons that are being connected to why this Chinese aggression at a time like this. The world is already dealing with the coronavirus pandemic. Several discussions have been made again as well on what this could be about. Is it because the world opinion on China is moving aggressively against it? Is it because India's decision on Belt and Road Initiative? What could it be? What would you say is the reason for this sudden Chinese aggression?
Pratibha, there are a number of reasons. In fact, it's a cumulative response to various things that have happened in the past. In fact, it is not one. That building up the road from Darbuk to Shrok River right up to Daulat Beg Oldie, and building up the feeder roads to the Galwan Valley is nothing new. It's been happening for the last 10 years. Yes, today they occupy a position of dominance in the Galwan Valley, particularly in the figure 4 to 8 area, and they can dominate that road when our troops are moving from Dabruk to the Daulat Beg Oldie. Secondly, Daulat Beg Oldie is just about 8 kilometers south of Karakoram Highway, which is the trade route. And then, in addition to that, today they are in because of the corona problem, the COVID-19 problem, they are in a fix. The entire world is baying for Chinese blood, and even India has not fallen behind. They have asked for a independent investigation as to how this virus started off. And then, most important of all, they have got axe to grind with the United States, and the United States has been supporting India through and through. If you have noticed the statements of Mike Pompeo and President Trump, they have actually called China everything that is possible, and they have said that what China has done, fits with their image, and they are even talking about moving the NATO forces from Germany to actually help out the Indian military. In fact, this is an unprecedented move. So Chinese have been cornered from all sides, and now they are taking the wrath of the entire world. And the it's not just India. There's so many countries in the South Asia and Southeast Asia who are out to actually show who are venting their anger against China to divert the attention and to probably reassure the citizens of China that look, we are a great nation. We are in fact the economically, technologically, and militarily most advanced nation in South Asia. We can take on anybody, including United States. They have been making threats, but only thing is they did not expect that India would stand right in front of them and say, "Sorry, guys, enough is enough. Now get off." In fact, they didn't expect that. And then, now things have changed a lot in our country. Today, the armed forces have been given full freedom by the, establishment by the administration of, the present government. And then, so we are fully geared up to take whatever action that's necessary to make sure that these guys are taught a lesson once and for all.
Absolutely. And that message goes out strong by Prime Minister Modi's visit as well. Thank you so much, Air Marshal, for joining us on this Facebook Live with your expertise on that. So, of course, a big message has already been given out. Prime Minister Modi is at Ladakh. Like we mentioned, not just to the international community, to China and to the entire country as well, that things are under control. Of course, India is also speeding up to ensure that we are more empowered to take on China if the need be. That's all we have in this Facebook Live. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.